Why should you join the Livingston County Republican Party?
Why, you ask?
Yeah, why?
Why join?
The Republican Party is the party of common sense.
Common sense.
Republicans support the Constitution.
Republicans protect your rights.
We fight to keep your children safe.
We fight to keep boys and men out of girls and women's sports.
We fight to keep boys out of girls' restrooms.
We fight for you.
What does the Republican Party do?
We help Republican candidates get elected.
Why is it important to elect Republicans?
Why is that important?
Why?
Tell me, why is that important?
Livingston County is one of the safest counties in Michigan.
Livingston County has one of the lowest crime rates in the state of Michigan.
Livingston County has the lowest tax millage rate of all 83 counties.
Republicans work to balance the budget.
Republican legislators vote against raising your taxes.
Republican elected officials believe in transparency.
Republican clerks run elections with integrity.
Republican trustees protect your rights.
Republicans support our veterans.
Who can join?
If you are conservative, we want you in our party.
All conservatives are welcome at our table.
Join our activities.
Join the fun.
Become a member.
Join us now.
Hi, I'm Deb Drick, chair of Livingston County Republican Party. Our conservative message has been very well received in Livingston County, and I'm so happy to share with you that people are stepping up right and left to help. The only thing's missing is you. Come join our mission. Come join our fun. Go to livingstonrepublicans.com and click join. You'll be glad you did.
John Adams warned that the Constitution is wholly inadequate without a moral and religious people. As conservatives, we must reclaim the faith that shaped it, rooted in Jesus Christ and the Bible. To help you understand the historic Christianity that our country was founded on, check out theexaltedchrist.com, a resource website proclaiming Christ as King.
Well, I was off of my timing there. I popped in before I could get that last little commercial in there. So, hello, good evening, and welcome to the right side, the August 12th version. We're going to have a great show tonight. We're going to have all ballot proposals all the time. So we're going to start with, before we go anywhere, I'm going to post here. This Saturday, Representative Barrett is having a rally to support the big, beautiful bill. They're asking that at 10 a.m. this Saturday, Republicans come and stand in front of Congressman Barrett's district office at 328 West Ottawa in Lansing. And you can RSVP to, oh boy, MI 7th. What does that say? Wait a minute. I got to have good young eyes over here to look at it. Please copy. Yeah, he's going to write it in there. So you can RSVP over there. And so they're just looking for some support for Tom Barrett and for his big, beautiful bill. So, okay, here we go. And I'll put this on the screen. Yeah, so right there, that's where you would RSVP, but that's going to support him. And so I'm going to try and get there. Anybody wants to ride with me, you can let me know. chair@livingstonrepublicans.com. Okay, so let's get that off the screen. And, well, we have a new person here. It doesn't know why they're here. Hello, Curtis Clark. This is the Right Side Podcast. It's a podcast in Livingston County that has unedited and uncensored Republican issues. So if this is what you want to hear, then you're in the right place. And if you're not, that's okay. Okay, and Bob Kittredge is saying hello. So good to see you. Megan's not here yet. She won't be on until 8. So we're going to start right in. Today, as I said, today is all about ballot proposals. And the first one we're going to talk about is the what you're hearing everywhere, and that's Axe My Tax. Megan will discuss all the other ones, and she may or may not talk about Axe My Tax, but I'm going to start about that. Well, Curtis, we're glad you did, so that's good. All right, if you are typing things over here, and just like I highlighted Bob and I highlighted Curtis, if you're typing messages and I'm not highlighting them, then that means I don't see them. And I'm encouraging you to go to Facebook, Livingston County Republican Party, and sign on there. And then you'll be able to, most people can get seen. So, all right, let me start with Axe My Tax. Axe My Tax is a proposal. And the proponents say it's going to wipe out all property tax, all millages. That's the goal of Axe My Tax. It's the proponents say, hi Ron, the proponents say it will save homes, and also the money saved will then stimulate economy, help with philanthropy, blah, blah, blah. So that's what proponents say. Critics, on the other hand, say it's too big of a cut and it's not sustainable. So I don't know if anybody spends any time politically looking around or nosing around on Facebook. This is a topic that is everywhere, and it's this and that and this and that. So basically, in the big picture, it's going to wipe out property tax. Well, property tax funds, as you know, counties, cities, villages, schools, and then there's all the special millages for fire, millages for recreation, millages for libraries, millages for schools, millages for all kinds of things, and all those will be wiped out. Instead, in its place, according to Axe My Tax, I've taken some of the language and I brought it out. That's the distribution. What they're going to do is they're going to take a portion of sales tax and marijuana tax, and they've got a little formula there that they're going to add together, and then they're going to distribute per capita. So you can see it's going to be on a population basis. All right. So, and let me pull that off. So rather than pay property tax, a bigger portion of sales tax is now going to be distributed. All right. And so the real question everybody has is this enough? And as we're asking, we're not getting a lot of, I could never get any kind of dollar figure on what it's going to be. What I was told was, well, Lansing will make up the difference. Oh, okay. So that one I'm not comfortable with, but let's just see what we got. So let me show you the language here. So what they're going to do is they're going to, let's see, I did the distribution. So out of this distribution, this is the language. Let's get that on the stage. This is the language. It has to go to essential services. So that increased sales tax revenue sharing that they're going to give to counties and cities, it can only be spent on these things, which would be safety, first responders, law enforcement, fire response, courts, emergency management personnel. So they're going to wipe out property tax, wipe out that millages, and instead give an increased amount of the sales tax and spend it on this. The other thing it's allowed to be spent on for the counties or the cities and municipalities is essential infrastructure. Okay, that's electronic security, safety services, flood control, dams, roads, mass transit, public water, wastewater services. In Livingston County, we of course have the drain commissioner that kind of deals with a lot of that, but also airports. So that's what it's allowed. Now, let me go over here. Before I say anything more, I want to say this. I am all for property tax elimination. I would love to see that. And if we could come up with a plan that's absolutely going to work by the numbers, not by the emotions, not by the, geez, I hope, working that part out, it's going to work out. But by the numbers, there will be no bigger proponent than me. I will get behind that solid. So let's look at what's going on here. The other thing I want to mention is I happen to think a lot of Carla Wagner. I think she has, she's doing this for the right reasons. She is working hard. She's focused. She is very dedicated to, making sure people don't lose their homes. Bravo. I applaud that. And she's got a lot of very devoted followers in this. So bravo to them. All right. So here's the numbers. Now, let me tell you that I went to 2 different places to bring you accurate numbers. This is a snapshot of what will happen. The first place I went to was the Citizens Research Council of Michigan. It is a nonpartisan, it's a data bank. These are where all the researchers, the top researchers are, and they don't take positions. They give you data. You ask for research, they give you research. They give you the data. They give you the numbers. They do the math. They're fantastic. They're professional, and they don't take a side. They just give you the information you've asked for, and then you decide. They're wonderful. So that's the Citizens Research Council of Michigan. Anybody wants to look them up, they're free to. I went to them, and I said, here's the proposal. They had the ballot proposal language. They took everything, all the data, all the new nuances, the new formulas, and they broke it out per capita. If you'll recall, I just showed you their language that said this money, this new replacement for property taxes, will be distributed per capita, per population, per person. Okay, it'll be X amount. So basically, they take they figure out what the increase would be, what the thing would be, and divide it by the population of Michigan. Okay. Then you get a number, and you just take that number and you multiply it by whatever county. You also get a number for schools. You also get a number for cities and, things like that. But we're going to I went to the county. So I got that number. I got the per capita numbers. Then I went to Livingston County admin, and I asked them, and also the finance chair, Commissioner Nick Fiani, and I asked for the data. What is the budget for Livingston County? What does it cost us to run Livingston County? Well, this is here. This is the whole thing. Now, I've got enlarged versions, but you can see this is all the departments. What I put over here are the departments that are not covered by the considered essential services and covered by the Axe My Tax money. And then down here, we have this little anomaly. I have to hand it. Brandon Denby over there at Register of Deeds. They make $1 million and they contributed to the general fund. So good for him. All right. So that's the overall budget. You can see we have courts, we have sheriff, we have emergency management, prosecuting attorney, 911, the drain commissioner, planning, community, and I'm not sure what that is. That community mental health, I'm not sure what that is. But the board of commissioners, the treasurer, the EMS and medical examiner, equalization, fiscal services, that's all your finance stuff. The county administration, what does that say? Animal services, yes. Facility services, the county clerk, the health department, the nonprofits. The county does contribute a small amount to nonprofits. It's not much, but still they do. Human resources, professional services that they have to hire, attorneys and et cetera. Register of Deeds, which we know makes money, the public defender, and the Let's Transportation. Now, as I said, these here are all, what does that say? General. Oh, general. Okay. That's just extra. The other stuff. This is the stuff that is not covered. Okay. So let's pull this off. Now let's go here. This is the essential services. All right. So let's court, sheriff, emergency management, prosecuting attorney, central dispatch, the drain commissioner, public defender, and the EMS and medical examiner. That is the essential services. Now, what's not on here is the airport, but I'm not sure that the airport gets general fund money. So that we're going to put that aside for now. The other thing I'm not sure of, public defender and prosecuting attorney, technically I lump in with the courts because they're right. You have a right to that. So they have to be part of that. But so this is what our essential services cost, $41 million plus. Okay. So let's get out of here. And let me show you, where's my per capita? Let me get my per capita. I think this is my per capita right here. Is that my per capita? Okay. The per capita for a county, according to the Citizens Research Council of Michigan, the per capita income that will be distributed for essential services will be $164.01 per person in the population. Livingston County's population at the end of 2024 was 196,926. Okay. And so that would be the total for the county to come to our county for those essential services that I just showed you is $32,297,833. That is almost 9,000 less. I'm sorry, 9 million. That's almost 9 million less than we spend on just the essential services. Okay, that's all. Now, having said that, the county does come in with some extra monies for services and things like that, but the way I see it, the way Nick and I went at it, we looked at it and we're estimating it is less than 10 million. So over here, now we are already something like 9 million short. So now we also have, so let's just say we come in with an extra 8 million. What's going to fund your elections? What's going to fund the treasurer? What's going to fund your county clerk's office? I mean, your human resources, all that stuff, all this stuff here, the animal shelter, all that stuff, it's suddenly not going to get funded anymore. This is a scary, scary thing. You can see the big deficit, the shortfall. Just the essential services, we're missing 9 million, not to mention the other stuff. So even if the county makes enough money in other ways, services and things, to cover that, which I don't think they do, but then that still leaves all those other departments without funding. Or if they cut either that, or they can use that, cut all those departments and fund with the other services, and then we cut these. Where would we cut? We would cut these. So what would happen? 22 million, you can see that's our sheriff, right? It is that's our sheriff department. So if 10 million's got to come out of that, or just under 10 million, or it was at 9 million, say 9 million out of that, where would you take it? So, these things they have to be, these are your essential services. So we would be about 9 million short on that. So it is, so let me pull that off. Okay. That's that. Now, in addition to that, we have, this is the per capita number for cities, villages, and townships, 124.61. All right, that's what the township, cities, and villages get. I did not do a workup on that because I don't have their budgets. I don't have their, so anybody here that's watching or watches in the next few days, that you are a township treasurer or a city treasurer or whatnot, there's your number. Multiply that by your population. That's what you'll get to fund the things that we've already, that I already showed you. And, you can go X my taxes public. You can look at it. So, so take a look and see what you're going to be short. And maybe do you have other services to make up that extra money? All right. Now, the schools, according to them, they're really going to get nailed because schools get funded by a lot of millages. Now, there's money that's supposed to be coming, a portion of the whatever, something in the figures are going to refund that. But still, according to the research, there's still like $1,155 per capita, not per student, per capita. So that's in our population, that's $227 million in the state. In the whole county. Now you divide that by 5 districts. I don't know if LESA is in there. If that's the case, it's 6 districts. It may be 40 million, but it's going to be a big hit. So that money's got to come from somewhere because, the schools just will not be able to function with that kind of a big hit. However, now I've asked several different places, where will that money come from? And what I'm being told is that it'll force Lansing to adjust the budget. It'll force Lansing to cut the waste and then fund it. It'll force Lansing to do what they got to do to cut fat. I can tell you this, our county does not have fat. We have very, very tight. Tracy, I see that you say we paid drain commissioner. Drain commissioner is on there. So I had drain commissioner on there. So they're good. So and Greg's asking, how do states balance their budget without property taxes? That is a good question. We will get to that. Hold that thought. All right. So the fact that if we're waiting on Lansing to make up any kind of deficit without a plan or an order, they've got an order to pay X amount of the property tax, the marijuana tax, the alcohol tax, blah, 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 right? We have, that will pay for some of it. It's not paying for enough of it. So where will the rest come? From what I understand, well, Lansing it'll force Lansing to cut some fat and give us the rest. Here's where I have a problem with that one. They're not going to do that. They're going to do all kinds. There's a multitude of things they're going to do. First of all, they're going to say, you voted for it. You're going to live with the results. That's one thing. The other thing is, any money that comes from Lansing, anything that comes from Lansing, anything that comes from the feds, what's attached? Can you tell me, anybody here write the word I'm looking for? What's attached? Right? What's attached? Strings. Nobody gives money in the state or the feds to give without strings. So let's just say Lansing says, all right, we're going to give you an extra $10 million just to make up all that other stuff that you can't pay now, your elections and your treasurer and all that other stuff that's not included in that essential services. I would say elections are essential. What do I know? However, let's say they do that and they have some sort of formula. Think about 23 and 24 for a minute. Think about that. How did that go when the Democrats had control? Everything is going to have strings. Everything is going to have strings. So it's going to be, oh, you're a constitutional county. Oh, sorry, you get docked. Oh, you're not forcing vaccines. Oh, you're going to get docked. Oh, you're a 2A county. Oh, bye-bye. Oh, you don't enforce pronouns. You don't allow pronouns. That's the kind of stuff. Now, Tracy, I see what you're saying. And Tracy, it would really be good for everybody if you listen before you argue. You're arguing as you go, and you're not catching the big picture here. You should have ownership of your property. I'm in 100% agreement. Just let's get through this, okay? Now, if Lansing doesn't have the money, which they're not gonna, to make up this big shortfall in the rest of the services, what other ways can they do? Property tax increase, sales tax increase, income tax increase, all that's coming. Now, ask my tax people, the argument, I'm going to head somebody off, ask my tax people are going to come back and say, well, we put it in there that said you can't raise a tax without a 60% vote. I approve that one 100%. That's a great ballot initiative to have. Nobody should be able to raise a tax easily, all right? So, but if this passes in November, it doesn't take place until 12 months. And even if it took place in January, there's a little thing called lame duck, which they can raise all the taxes they want. That will have nothing to do. So they will raise taxes. I have no doubt they will do that. But maybe that's not a bad thing to have that tax instead of property tax. Maybe that's the case, okay? So let's keep going here. So here is what I feel is the real issue. And this is the one, and that is right there. That big number from the schools. Let's say the research is off. I'm just going to take that argument, and let's cut that in half. That's still a lot per school. Now, I want to ask you, and this is another one where you should be typing away because I'm going to ask the riddle here. If this proposal passes, and if we really do cut all those millages from schools, right? Or if there's a threat, I'm sorry, if the language gets on there, if this ballot proposal gets on the ballot, and on the ballot is a proposal that's going to wipe schools out of a lot of money, who do you suppose is going to get engaged? Who's going to get engaged there? Can anybody type in the 3 letters that we need? As I can tell you, it's going to be the MEA. That's the Michigan Education Association. That is probably the tightest union, the tightest Democrat power in the state. Now, they're going to get engaged between libraries and between schools. They're gonna mobilize. Now let's just set aside for a minute. Right now, the Democrats have never, ever in my lifetime in politics been so disorganized. It's a mess. They're floundering. They're unorganized. They have crazy messaging. They refuse to change their platform. Their platform killed them. And they refuse to change it, right? And they're not unified for the first time ever. The Senate Dems just rejected something Governor Whitmer wanted. That doesn't happen. They're usually way better organized. So our best bet, the Republicans meaning, best bet next year is to keep them floundering, keep them unorganized, keep them non-unified, and continue and come back and take the House and take the Senate and take the governor and the SOS and the AG and the U.S. Senate and keep Tom Barrett. That's what needs to happen. This gets on the ballot. If this proposal gets on the ballot, it's going to mobilize all the Dems. It's going to be worse than both abortion, which gave us Whitmer number 2 and gave us a complete Dem majority, and also in 2018, marijuana, that gave us Whitmer Part 1. And that mobilizes Dems. Right now, they don't have anything. Dems are really silent about this. Have you noticed that? Somebody brought that up to me today, and it's like, you know what? You're right. I think, and I talked to legislators and said, what if this gets legislated? And the response back to me was, oh, we could legislate this all day long. Governor will never sign it. You know what? You're right, because she wants this on the ballot, because that is, now we have Governor Benson or Governor Gilchrist and, SOS whoever and SOS Barb Byram, and we have Attorney General whoever, and we have the governor and the House and the Senate are all Dem again, because we brought because we completely wiped out schools, and the MEA came out and said, oh no, that would be a gift to the Democrats, like a red bow. It would be happy birthday, Democrats. Here's your unifying position. Don't worry about that other stuff. Don't worry about all your arguments. Don't worry about your crazy messaging. You're going to get together and you're going to mobilize for the sake of the schools. And the Democrats are going to come running to the polls. And then we are wiped out. Now, after that happens and we lose, we have no Mike Rogers, we have no Congressman Barrett, we have no state leadership. And then we have all these funding shortfalls in the counties and the cities and the townships and the towns. What's going to happen is they're going to raise taxes in Lansing. They're going to have the big Democrat majority again. Everything's going to go up. You will lose your property taxes and everything else will skyrocket, but you're going to also lose control. There is no proposal in my brain that is worth going totally Democrat for 8 years. It would be awful. Just awful. So, because once you get those 4 years, it's going to be 4 years and then they'll all get reelected. They always do. So the best we could do is maybe take back the House and stop. But can you imagine? Look what happened in 22 and 23. Oh, I'm sorry, 23 and 24. Look how crazy things got in Michigan. Imagine 4 more years of that. Oh my gosh. I can't. So the other states, to this person, whoever asked me about the other states are doing this. They are coming up with proposals, but they are designating funds from various places to cover the expenses. Schools are covered. Courts are covered. Clerks are covered. Elections are covered. Treasurers covered. They're covered. They're being pulled. Ron DeSantis, I believe, is examining. I think they're all right now, but they're doing it with the legislature, with the budget. And the other thing is, I mean, so that's one way. That's how other states are doing it. They're working with the legislature. They're not saying, well, we're going to give you this big shortfall and then, yeah, we'll figure it out. They never figure it out. Or if they do figure it out, it's going to come with strings. There are other ways that this can be done. One would be, for years, the Senate tried to push what's called a fair tax or a flat tax. In other words, they wipe out income tax, they wipe out property tax, and then they just raise the sales tax. How does that make a difference? Well, it makes everybody contribute. Right now, income taxes, obviously it's a funding source for the government. But right now, only people that work on the books pay it. If you have a flat tax, everybody pays it. People that work under the table, cash under the table, big sums, whenever they buy something, they now pay income tax. They pay it through their sales tax. And they call it a fair tax because it is fair. There is no more fair way. If you make $40,000 a year, you will purchase things that will have tax upon your purchases based on your $40,000 a year, right? So you will pay a smaller proportion than somebody that makes $200,000 a year and buys that much in stuff. That is absolutely a fact. So I don't know how much more fair you get than a percentage of what you buy, right? So it can be done all at once. I would suggest, if someone said, Debbie, will you write the language? This is what I would do. This is how I would write it. I would write it that we're going to have, as of 12 months after the ballot passes, we're going to increase the sales tax by whatever, couple cents, we'll say. Those numbers need to be verified. So just make this hypothetical right now. We will eliminate property tax. We'll raise your sales tax 2 or 3 cents. So let's say it becomes 9 cents. All right, that takes care of property taxes, let's just say. Then 2 more years after that, still on the same proposal by you, 2 more years after that, now income tax is also reduced and you've gone up another couple cents. So now you're paying 11 cents, or 12 cents, but you're not going to pay property tax or income tax. That means everybody pays. That means tourists come here and help pay. That means people that work under the table help pay. There's no more fair way. That's the way I suggest, that's a way, that's an option that doesn't shut everybody down. Those numbers got to be run. And if anybody's interested in doing something like this, I would certainly recommend, or I would even help go to the Research Council and say, what kind of tax structure needs to happen to wipe out property tax, make everybody whole? And you can take out pay-to-play things. I didn't address that because I don't know how many people are going to argue with that. I know that there's a big thought about these property tax paying for zoos and for museums and for things like that, even rec departments. It should be a pay-to-play. That is a reasonable argument. I don't know, but I would say take those away. Take those out of the equation. You're right. Maybe they should be pay-to-play. I certainly don't think that they need to be mandated because that would certainly be unfair. But whoever it is that was telling me that it should be, Carla told me, she said that nobody should have to pay for that. If you want to go to a library, pay your library card. If you want to go to the zoo, pay the increased amount. That'll cover their expenses. Okay, that's not unreasonable. So, okay, so however, if you can come up with a formula that makes schools whole and also makes cities and governments whole, maybe it is a little bit less. Maybe you do cut some fat. To me, that's one way. There's also delegating other taxes to this. Maybe it's a combination. Greg here says Curtis says he doesn't like the idea of raising taxes. There's a better way. I'm all ears, dude. I agree. You are raising taxes, but don't forget you're eliminating these other ones. So it's a sales tax that then gets spread out. It's exactly balanced according to income. It's exactly balanced to everybody. I don't care who you are. If you go to Home Depot and buy a package of nails or a couple 2x4s, you're going to pay exactly what you should pay. If you're going to buy 20 2x4s or 2x4s, it's going to be fair according to what you pay. And property tax, a lot of people said it is not a fair tax at all because you don't get the decision. Fair tax is a better choice, according to Greg. Make schools whole, charge tuition. Man, that's not such a bad idea. So a flat fair consumption tax also captures revenue from the shadow economy of crime. That's true. That's true. I wasn't going to say that, but I'm glad you did. Good evening to Jay, who checked in here. If the Republicans don't come up with a strong candidate for governor, I predict Duggan will win. That's maybe not. We'll see. We'll get to that because all that stuff's coming. So anyway, this is where it's okay. Curtis says the existing bonds that were approved and are still some years from being paid off. Oh, that's another thing, because if we go into default with those things, that they're going to get a judgment. Guess where they go? They've got a for sure funding source for a garnishment. They go right to the state. So yes, it is. Anyway, so back to Axe My Tax. Let me just kind of summarize. Getting rid of property taxes is a good thing. It is, as far as I'm concerned, it's a very good thing. And I like Carla, and I really believe in what she's doing, and I know she believes in what she's doing, and I like the way her followers just go. But to be able to say, I've just seen too many times people get touchy about this, and they say, where's it going? Well, they'll figure it out, or what's wrong with getting rid of taxes? What kind of Republican are you? No. I'm a strong conservative, and I believe in getting rid of taxes when it makes sense to do so. But amputating without a really, without a plan to make it whole, that is scary for me. That's just scary. So that's my take on Axe My Tax. Now anybody wants to say what they want to say, that's just fine. It's okay if you disagree with me. In our party, we believe in reasonable disagreement. And we respect each other at the end of the day, and it's okay. So here comes Curtis. If every municipality had community-owned municipal cooperatives for energy, we could pay for everything. Hey, that's another idea. Good. That is a good idea. I'm not an energy person, so Curtis, I'll tell you something. If that is something you know about, if you are a expert or a learned person in this area, or somebody that's an expert in that kind of plan, get a hold of me or have them get a hold of me. chair@livingstonrepublicans.com. Have them send me something. I'll bring them on. I will absolutely bring them on. I will absolutely bring them on here, and let's figure it out. Let's figure out other ways. But what I would like to say is I would like to say that I would love to see a different proposal. I'd like to see Axe My Tax axed in favor of Axe My Tax Part 2 or Part 3 or whatnot. And let's figure this out so the numbers come out in the end. I gave you actual numbers. They were not invented. They came from the county website. They came from the Axe My Tax. I showed you the language. That's how they're doing it. So it's a great idea, but the execution is hi Jake. The execution is I don't want to say it's bad, because it's not. It's not bad, it's not wrong. It's just, the word is incomplete. That's the word. It's incomplete. It's not, well, they'll have to figure this out. It's a big problem. And for me, the bigger problem is organizing these unorganized, flustered, crazy sounding Dems. Suddenly now they're going to drop all that stuff and rush to the table. And just like, the abortion thing, they were unified, one message, one party, boom, 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 and they got it done. Same with marijuana. This is worse. This is going to make those two look like nothing. So we have to be very, very, very cautious in what we do with Axe My Tax. So I would respectfully say, Carla, I'm glad you're running for governor. I think your candidacy will be stronger if you look at this and say, you know what, there might be a better way. Let's back this off. Let's shift gears a little bit and let's put a better mechanism in place, because this one's too much of an amputation, and it's too much left up to people in charge that I don't want in charge. I don't like Lansing being deciding what we're going to get above that essential services. I mean, or what the proposal deems essential services. Like I said, I believe that having a treasurer and a secretary of state and a clerk, a county clerk, and elections in the county, that's essential. So, but that's not covered. So where would that come from? Pay to vote? No. No, that would be bad. So anyway, this is it. That's just my ideas. It's my analysis. It's my ideas. I just want to throw it out there. I don't know. I don't know what, Carla will do. I hope she at least listens and thinks about this, considers the big gap, and maybe there's a better way. I'm reachable, and I know there are lots of other people that are kind of talking to me about the same way. I like the idea, but this particular vehicle is not the one. My worry is this: if this vehicle fails because someone's doing math out there, if this vehicle fails, you're not going to get another bite at the apple. It's already had 2 now. So let's not push this any farther. Stop, back up, redo, get it. Yes, it's a pain in the butt to do it again, but you got plenty of time. There's plenty of time to still do it. So let's spend the next couple months writing it all and writing it down, really dotting the I's and crossing the T's to make sure that they stay whole and how they stay whole. So it's not just let's let them figure it out. It's not like let's just let them figure it out. Let's us figure it out. I don't want them figuring it out. Do you? Do you really want them to figure it out? I don't. It comes with strings. No thanks. All right, Ron, we all want to get rid of property tax. Let's do it in a smart way. Make the math work. All right, as usual, Ron, what took me 10 sentences to say, you said in 3. Good for you. But that's exactly what I'm saying. We need to ax my tax, yes. Or just edit ax my tax. We don't need to ax it per se, but we need to edit it. We need to come up with a clearer, all right, I like the way it's like this percentage of this percentage of this. It just doesn't add up enough. I don't want those DEMs modalized. So, okay, what about this over here? Let's go through that budget and figure out percentage of that needs to come here. Percentage of gas tax needs to come here. You know what? To me, I would rather pay. I go to other states. Florida, Texas, they all have high sales tax. Florida has a higher sales tax. They have no income tax. Well, they have property tax. I know that because I pay it on my properties down there. But I wouldn't have a problem paying a higher sales tax, and if it took away the property tax and income tax, holy cow, would that be nice? We would have people moving here instead of, if this goes through, moving out. All right, this would have been more receptive if the scope was narrowed to exempt property tax for primary homeowners only. Yeah, I still say it would be too much of a shortfall, but I get what you're saying, and you're right. But anyway, so it's something worth looking into. I'm gonna show Ron one more time because he said it succinctly. We all want to get rid of it. Let's do it in a smart way and make the math work. Let's designate exactly where that money's coming from. Exactly. Include the county clerk, include animal shelter or animal services, include the administration and HR and the commissioners and all that stuff. You need those things. Our county runs as well as it does because we have those things, and we don't have a lot of fat at all. We have very little fat. Our commissioners are extremely conservative, and the arguments that they have are how much fat they can cut, how much more they can do. So it's well worth reconsidering. And as I said, if anybody's willing to reconsider from the Ax My Tax team, I am more than happy to facilitate, to help bring legislators to the table, to help bring budget people to the table, to help get researchers to the table. Let's figure it out to make that math work, because then when it passes, everybody can take a sigh. It's over. They've got it figured out. We can do this, instead of the angst that's coming over this. And again, the thought that the MEA is going to mobilize everybody and we're going to lose our majority, our attempt at majority, or our right now, the way things stand, we're looking good for majority. As I said, there's no organization over there. Our opponents are not organized, and they're struggling and they're fighting. This will unify every single one of them. I don't want to give them that gift. So anyway, we'll be back. Let's do a couple commercials, and then we'll be back. Take another couple. So think about your questions, add them in there, and we'll address them when we get back. And around 8 o'clock, we got Megan Reckling, who's going to come and talk about all the other proposals. That lady knows proposals, so it'll be interesting to hear what she has to say. All right, we'll be back in a minute.
John Adams warned that the Constitution is wholly inadequate without a moral and religious people. As conservatives, we must reclaim the faith that shaped it, rooted in Jesus Christ and the Bible. To help you understand the historic Christianity that our country was founded on, check out theexaltedchrist.com, a resource website proclaiming Christ as King.
Bunny's Fabulous Seasoning is a fantastic new blend of herbs and vegetables made in Livingston County. Add a tablespoon to homemade breads, soups, stews, meat, poultry, vegetables, casseroles, sauces, and more. To order, email Bunny's Fabulous Seasoning at gmail.com or message the Bunny's Fabulous Seasoning Facebook page. It's time to divorce you or marry me chicken and take advantage of free delivery in and around Livingston County. Bunny's Fabulous Seasoning, the only seasoning you need.
Okay, well, I'm back. All right, what do we got here? We have Greg. Oh, you're welcome, Greg. Like I said, I have to tell you, I wasn't as happy with the results as I would have liked to have been. I would have liked to see this and say, oh wow, this we're gonna be fine. Yeah, we'll cut a little here, cut a little there. That's fine. They'll figure it out. But no. So that the research was the research. That's why I posted on it by the numbers. Everything I showed you today was the numbers. It wasn't, a preference. It wasn't anything else. I want to make sure yep, I did. I showed you everything. So, all right. Anyway, so we got a couple minutes before Megan gets here. So I'm just going to make sure you have anything else. So I want to, once again, at the beginning, I showed you this. Congressman Barrett is asking for people to come and support the big, beautiful bill at 10 a.m. Saturday, the 18th. Is that the 18th? My eyes are so bad. It'll be held in front of Congressman Barrett's district office located at 328 Ottawa and in Lansing. Let me go back up here because my wonderful helper over here, Tyler, typed it in. As soon as I find it, you can RSVP. It's way up here somewhere, right there. Yep. All right, there we go. You can RSVP at that email address, and if you can show up. I'm gonna try and go. So if anybody would like to ride with me, just chair at livingstonrepublicans.com. Tyler's really good at this stuff. He also typed that out. So anybody has any ideas or would like to go, there it is right there. So just give me an email and we'll ride together. That'll be just fine. So, all right. Well, you're right, Greg. The numbers don't lie. That's really it. The numbers are the numbers. So, all right. So I'm looking forward to hearing what Megan has to say. We have different proposals coming. One of them, and I know she talked about it before she was here. She talked quite a bit. Let me just make sure she hasn't texted me and told me she's running into problems. What's the address? Oh dear. Excuse me. Okay, that's me texting her the address so she can get here. All right, so she talked about ranked choice voting. That is the most god-awful proposal there is. That basically averages out everybody's worst choice, or like their third or fourth place choice. So if you see a proposal that's coming around that's asking you to sign for ranked choice voting, no thank you, no thank you. Furthermore, no thank you. That is a bad one. That's very, very bad. Michael wants to know what other guests are in the pipeline. We have coming next week, we have gubernatorial candidate Tom Leonard coming. We also have in October, I have gubernatorial candidate Eric Nesbitt. I also have, we also have gubernatorial candidate Mike Cox, who is, we're working on a date. We have coming up next month, we have former Senator Tanya Shoemaker, who is doing the Michigan Political Leadership Program. So she's going to come on and talk about that. So I'm going to right now go to a quick commercial, and then we're going to get Megan in here, and we'll start talking. She'll start talking to us about what's going on. Welcome to The Right Side. And with me now is the brand new 7th District Chair, District 3, Livingston County Commissioner, Frank Sample. So welcome, Frank. You're very active in the American Legion.
Correct.
You're very active in the VFW.
This ideology is very damaging to the students who are told if you get this surgery and make do the social transition, the medical transition, then you'll be happy and all your problems will be solved. Learned so much.
I'll bet. That's some institutional knowledge right there.
And we have, as a special guest, as I said earlier, we have Kevin Reiki with us. Welcome, Kevin. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
Go Boge. Thanks, Kelly. There are no shortage of them. We love meeting new people.
Right, yes.
It's in good shape, so that's good news.
That safeness is not afforded to every citizen. They are special.
There's a difference between men and women. There's a biological difference, and it's time for us to stand up for our girls.
He went through, and he came back with a report said there's no way Detroit can meet its obligations on the tax base.
Yes.
So is this DEI focused just on the high school, or are they talking about all
district, the entire district?
Maybe that's kind of normal. It's really not. There tends to be little fiefdoms with different police agencies and police versus fire and fire versus EMS and blah blah blah. That's not the case here. So Livingston County is very fortunate.
Hey, not too long ago, in many of our lifetimes, Detroit was the third largest city in America.
Oh yeah,
3.2 million citizens.
It's been a great experience. I mean, I have no regrets about moving here.
There's an old saying that the road will get you elected, the jail will get you unelected. So, to give you an idea.
You have to have a reason to change for change to be enacted.
Why should you join the Livingston County Republican Party?
Why, you ask?
Yeah, why? Why join?
The Republican Party is the party of common sense.
Common sense.
Republicans support the Constitution.
Republicans protect your rights.
We fight to keep your children safe. We fight to keep boys and men out of girls and women's sports.
We fight to keep boys out of girls' restrooms.
We fight for you.
What does the Republican Party do?
We help Republican candidates get elected.
Why is it important to elect Republicans?
Why is that important?
Why? Tell me, why is that important?
Livingston County is one of the safest counties in Michigan.
Livingston County has one of the lowest crime rates in the state of Michigan.
Livingston County has the lowest tax millage rate of all 83 counties.
Republicans work to balance the budget.
Republican legislators vote against raising your taxes.
Republican elected officials believe in transparency.
Republican clerks run elections with integrity.
Republican trustees protect your rights.
Republicans support our veterans.
Who can join?
If you are conservative, we want you in our party.
All conservatives are welcome at our table.
Join our activities.
Join the fun.
Become a member.
Join us now.
Hi, I'm Deb Drick, Chair of Livingston County Republican Party. Our conservative message has been very well received in Livingston County, and I'm so happy to share with you that people are stepping up right and left to help. The only thing's missing is you. Come join our mission. Come join our fun. Go to livingstonrepublicans.com and click join. You'll be glad you did. Okay, we are back, and here as promised, we have Megan Reckling coming here from Victory Field Operations. Is that
would be it.
All right, hot dog. So let's see.
Got it right.
Right. So we got great compilation. All right, Curtis Good and our ranked choice voting. I was waiting for you. I went over that again. So all right, there's Michael saying yay. All right, good. So Megan's here now, and she is going to talk. I just talked about Axe My Tax and all the pitfalls and etc. And if Megan wants to chime in on any of that, that's fine. But she's got all the other ones that she's going to discuss. So I'm going to just say go, Megan. What are you doing over there?
All right, so there's a couple of things. First off, I'm going to run through a myriad of ballot initiatives that have gone before the Michigan State Board of Canvassers. They have gone through the process to get their petitions approved, to circulate, so that people can be aware what's out there, what you might be asked to sign over the next couple of months, and to kind of give you some warnings of what you should avoid and what you should really help us circulate, not as a company, but just as a conservative cause.
Right.
So first, let's talk about Rank My Vote. That is the ballot initiative doing ranked choice voting here in Michigan. Okay. That's a national organization that has come into the state. They're looking to have us adopt ranked choice voting. They have had their 100-word summary approved by the Board of Canvassers. They are out there collecting signatures, so you might run into a circulator who's asking you to sign the ranked choice voting initiative. They're hosting a lot of kind of informational meetings at people's homes. So that's the first one. Obviously, myself, lots of other conservatives. There's lots of reasons why people on both sides of the aisle oppose ranked choice voting. The number one thing I would encourage people to do or say when they're talking about ranked choice voting, don't make it a partisan issue. Make it an election administrative issue. Elections administrators on both sides of the aisle adamantly oppose ranked choice voting in Michigan because it simply doesn't work with our existing election laws.
Oh my God, what a nightmare that would be.
So it's not a partisan issue. It's just not right for our state. It's not right overall, but it's definitely not right here in Michigan.
Okay.
The next proposal that's out there is something called Voters to Stop Pay Cuts. This is kind of the minimum wage, paid sick times
kind of end around
2.0.
Yeah.
So they're out there again asking for some minimum wage things. I haven't seen too many of their petitions, but they have been approved by the Board of Canvassers. So you might be approached if it's something about wages or something with workers that would do mandatory minimum wage increases and other things that are really going to impact small business owners. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. You guys talked about Axe My Tax. They're out there collecting petitions. They've been approved, so they're doing their part of the process. The next big one that really conservatives, and not just conservatives, but small business owners really need to pay attention to is the petition called Invest in My Kids. This is a petition that was approved, rescinded, and a ballot initiative has a lot of money when they essentially tell the State Board of Canvassers to go screw off, and they're not going to worry about whether they have their 100-word summary approved by them or not. And that's kind of essentially what this group did.
Wait. Can that happen? Can they do that? I mean, what? Don't they have to be approved to get on the ballot?
So they're going to argue that they were approved. So what happened is a couple of months ago, they submitted their language to get approved. Right at the end of the public comment period, they submitted an updated version to the State Board of Canvassers for approval that made some pretty substantial changes that was never caught by the Bureau of Elections or the State Board of Canvassers, and the requesters did not point out that they had made some substantial changes. So while they were going through the process, their attorney representing them before the Board of Canvassers meeting used the term, no, we didn't make changes. We withdrew our initial petition and then we refiled. Well, when you withdraw your petition before the State Board of Canvassers, it starts the clock all over again.
Okay.
And so they had to go back before the next month. The State Board of Canvassers actually, because they were threatened, other organizations were now threatening to sue them for not following their timeline. They decided to, the first time I've ever seen it, rescind their approval of the 100-word summary. Then we come up to the next meeting. The group then presents their petition. And when you're before the State Board of Canvassers, you have to have at least one Republican and one Democrat. There's 2 Republican, 2 Democrats that sit on the state board. One from each party has to approve and vote yes in order for the 100-word summary to be approved for circulation. They deadlocked. So the 2 Republicans voted no, saying that they did not believe the 100-word summary was accurate and correct. The 2 Democrats voted yes, and they deadlocked. I thought for sure the ballot initiative that day or the next day was going to say they're suing because you can to compel the State Board of Canvassers to do their job and certify that for circulation. That is not what they did. That afternoon, they basically said, we don't care. We're going to circulate the very first petition that the state board rescinded their approval on. So that's a $10 to $15 million gamble that once they collect those signatures and they submit them to the State Board of Canvassers, what's going to happen from there? So this petition is very important because essentially what it does is it creates a progressive income tax in Michigan. Any individual who makes over $500,000 in income, we're not talking adjusted gross income, we're talking base income, or any couple over $1 million, this encompasses over 82% of small business owners in Michigan. Most restaurants do over $1 million in gross sales. Anything over those limits, you would pay an additional 4.9% income tax on top of all of the other taxes that you pay.
Oh my gosh.
So it adds another tax bracket. This would generate billions of dollars in revenue that the people who have wrote the petition argue would go to schools directly into classrooms, but that is not true. The ballot initiative is very clear that the spending is at the discretion of the legislature. And we all know how that goes.
It'll go to the schools, all right.
And not just that, even though it goes into the school aid fund, which is what they're trying to claim restricts, the school aid fund can be used to fund higher education. It can be used for community colleges. It can be used for teachers' pension payments.
Sure.
So there's a lot of things that money can be used for.
Well, and here's the other thing. You've got general fund money in there too. And so
Correct.
People think, well, the lottery pays. Well, the lottery, whatever the lottery puts in, the general fund comes out. It doesn't increase it. It doesn't make it.
It's taken us 20 years to get people to realize all the money that you pay at the pump on gas tax doesn't necessarily, so there's money that gets siphoned off.
Right.
And once the legislature gets their hands on it, they can move money from pot to pot when they need to.
Yep.
So if you are asked to sign something that would invest more money in education, it sounds really rosy fuzzy, but most of us know that more money does not equal better outcomes. That has been proven time and time and time again.
Okay.
And so, I would strongly encourage people to decline to sign if you are asked to sign anything related to schools or education. It is not a conservative cause. In fact, what was most interesting is at their very first meeting, they were kind of hammered by both Republican and Democrat canvass members because their slogan was tax the rich.
Yeah, that's what I wondered if this was that tax the rich
It
thing
is.
I heard. Okay.
And then they withdrew. And so now if you go to their website, all that's gone. But we all know what's going to happen. It's like Proposal 3, the abortion, all the voting stuff. As soon as they get the signatures and if they get on the ballot, tax the rich, tax the rich.
Yep.
And most everyday people are not going to think that's me.
Right.
Because most people don't count themselves as rich. But it does not take much to reach those income limits. And this would have a really big impact on people across Michigan. So
Yikes.
that's
So
invest
that's
in my
invest
kids.
in my kids. Okay. All
Correct.
Right. Big no.
Big no. So from there, that kind of leaves us with 3 different proposals that have all been submitted on citizens only voting. You
Okay.
have one by an organization, and I know Representative Posthumus was here talking about that. And then you have 2 coming from another group called Americans for Citizen Only Voting. And that's the one that I kind of want to spend the most time today talking about. That's the one that's currently in the field. We have been brought on to kind of help manage and coordinate the volunteer collection effort to
Is
try to
that the
help
one that
this.
Lana and Paul came and talked
Yes.
about last week? Okay. For
So-
those of you who are here.
Lana and Paul were on last week. If you missed that, go back and watch it. To give a quick summary, it does 3 main things. 1, it clearly states in the Constitution only citizens can vote. 2, it forces the Secretary of State to remove non-citizens from the voter rolls. And 3, it would mandate that you have a photo ID to vote. So those are the 3, what I would call common sense things that they do.
Agreed.
We have 180 days to collect signatures. Democrats already have their hair in fire, as one would predict.
Yep.
But this is an 80-20 issue. Over 80% of everyday Michiganders genuinely believe that only citizens should be allowed to vote in our elections.
Right.
So this is common sense. It's a pretty easy signature to get. We're finding out there citizens are very receptive to this. Again, it's not even a 60-40, it's an 80-20 issue. So we are looking for as many grassroots people who care about protecting the integrity of our elections. We have all watched for the last, I would say 8 years, but it's really been closer to like 10 to 12 years as progressive groups from both sides of the coast have come into Michigan. They have fundamentally changed our Constitution. They have changed our election laws. And we've really been on defense. This is the first time where there is an option for us to play offense. And there's nothing more that I hate than watching organizations or causes drive volunteers off a cliff into the abyss.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everybody has time, talents, and treasures, but if you're not going to an actual finish point or hitting a goal, you're just asking people to spin their wheels and you get them excited.
Right.
If this initiative did not have the right people, the right resources, and the right, connections across our state to make sure that this gets across the finish line, I wouldn't be participating.
Right.
There's lots of us here in the state that wouldn't be participating. But we can't do it without everybody's help. So
Okay.
the goal is to collect at least 155,000 signatures from grassroots volunteers around the state. Unlock Michigan did that.
155,000 signatures or petitions?
Yeah, signatures.
Okay.
Signatures.
Doesn't sound like much.
Well, we need about 650. We need
Okay.
466,000 to qualify.
Okay.
We need about 650 to make it through the challenge process.
Right.
We're counting on about 155,000 of those coming from volunteers.
Okay. I get it.
The
All
rest will be on the
Okay.
paid side.
Got it.
Unlock Michigan did it in 89 days, but we were locked down. There was not much to do.
Right.
But this is our chance, right? This is our chance to, before 2028, when President Trump is out of office, Jocelyn Benson is gone. There's a reason why she doesn't want this. This is for all the marbles here in Michigan.
Sure.
This is our one shot to help secure the integrity
Sure.
of our elections. So I would advocate you to go to their website, www.michcov.com. You can click on the volunteer link, sign up to get a petition kit. We'll mail it out. If every single precinct delegate in Michigan committed to collecting 25 signatures, 25,
Right.
we would hit the goal.
Okay.
Everybody knows 25 people they can ask for signatures, either a part of their group, at church, at their job. So if you guys could help contribute to that, that would be fantastic. But that's kind of a summary of what we're looking at as far
Before
as
we
the
go any
petitions
farther,
go.
Megan, give an email or something that people can come, or a website or something, and
Yes.
we'll post it up there. Go ahead.
So 2 options. One, you can go to the website, www.michcov.com, or you can send an email to info@michcov.com.
Okay, there's the website. And as soon as Tyler finishes typing that up,
Yeah, thank you, Tyler.
and then you can ask your questions there or ask how to get it. Now, are you have anybody at the Pinckney thing this week?
We do. There will
okay.
be a booth there
Okay.
with people collecting signatures.
Okay.
So if you're in Pinckney, they'll probably hit you up for a signature. We're also
Yep.
going to have a booth at Smoke and Jazz.
Okay. Oh, good.
In Brighton to collect signatures.
Good.
And if you're watching and you're not from the Livingston County area, if you have events like that, we can help coordinate
Okay.
getting those booths, getting,
Okay.
making sure they're staffed. We have
Yeah.
a booth coming up at the state fair
Oh, wow.
at the end of August for the whole week.
Nice.
So if you're interested in
Nice.
helping us collect signatures at the state fair, let me know. We would love help making sure that that is
Sure.
staffed. We are going to be able, our goal from our reports, I actually just had a text from one of our local parties, or was a Facebook post on my way here. They collected over 200 signatures on
Wow.
their very first day of their
Nice.
county fair. We had to run more petitions up to Midland today because they literally ran out of petition sheets
Wow.
on their first day.
Wow.
So it's a really common sense thing,
Okay.
great signature. Anybody who's willing to help us with a little bit of time, that would be appreciative.
Well, we have the Republicans have a booth at the Pinckney Food Fest, so if you want to be next to us or share with us or whatever,
We would love to.
We'd love to have you.
Good.
I think we had Jolie.
You had Jolie
yeah,
last
she was
time.
signing stuff last time.
It'll
She
be
was-
my sister and my kiddo this
All
time.
right, all right, all right, good. So okay, then we'll we welcome them with open arms. So that's
Good.
good. So what else you got? Any more?
So if you don't mind, I'd like to just talk a
Go
little
right ahead.
bit. I know I've had some questions on kind of Victory Field operations
Yeah.
and what we do. So, in the grand landscape of politics, a couple of years ago, really looked at what was going on, and I've done political consulting and, worked with great individuals on the county party level and thought about doing more political consulting. And then the catastrophe happened where all of our candidates got kicked off the ballot. And I looked around and I said, if our candidates cannot successfully make the ballot for people to vote on or have a choice of whom to vote for, what are we even doing? It's the most fundamental part.
We need to clarify. They're not her candidates that
Correct.
got kicked off. They were
Thank you.
Republican candidates.
They were
that
not
got
my
kicked off.
candidates.
They were not hers. All right, I just wanted to make that clear. Go ahead.
Wasn't even doing this part of it.
No. Okay.
So Jeff Wiggins, he's been around the LCRP. He was the elections chair when I was county party chair.
Okay.
He worked at ABC when they did the prevailing wage ballot initiative, and he had ran that. I have circulated thousands of petitions for different causes over the years. And I looked at Jeff and I said, I think this is crazy, but why don't we just open our own petition company? We are absolutely tired of watching vendors from really kind of out of state rob candidates blind of money and not care about the quality of work that they were giving them. So that's really what we did. So Victory Field Operations is very niche. We put our blinders on. We will oftentimes get called by candidates who want mail or they want digital or they need a campaign plan. We do not do any of that.
Okay.
We do paid signature gathering. We actually kind of have a niche market where we really specialize in rural areas, knocking on doors to collect the signatures that you need to qualify whatever you're qualifying. We do a lot of data work related to signatures. So we will verify signatures. So if you're a candidate running for office and you can't afford to pay for signatures, but you want to have somebody verify them to see how many valid you have, we will do just that part. We also look at signatures to potentially challenge things off the ballot. So if there's an initiative that's filed, we will do that a lot in areas where a referendum is filed or a initiative is filed to open storefront dispensaries.
Okay.
People will ask us to review and see if there's an opportunity to challenge. We do paid door knocking services and we do full recounts from front to back. So that's all we do. We do signatures and data, recounts, and paid door knocking. We don't do anything else. And so that's kind of our specialty.
Do you still have the printing and the mailing?
We don't do any of that.
No more. You did do that. Now
we did do that.
Okay.
I
didn't know if that was now something separate. I'm being very detailed here.
We don't do any printing. We don't do any mail. We like to work with all the consultants. Sure. We like to work with all the candidates. Our job is it's not to convince you who to vote for. Our job is to get people on the ballot, to give people a choice. And then we literally are hands off from there, and we let the voters decide from there. So a
client comes and pays you to get his signatures done or her signatures done. Do you then also take on their opponent or does that lock you in?
Yeah, that's a great question. It really depends. Sometimes we have candidates that don't care and we could take on somebody else. We would never have two candidates in the field at the same time. That just causes way too much room for error.
Define that.
So if we were to take on two candidates running for U.S. Senate per se, the first one says, I don't care, you can go hire once you're done with my project, you can hire somebody else.
I get what you're saying.
So it's once we're done with the project. So we would never have petitions for two candidates running in the same race in the field at the same time.
Okay, now I get it.
It just creates too much room for mistakes. We have never not qualified a project. That was a lot of negatives. 100% of the clients who have hired us have qualified. And we're not talking by the slim of their margins. They have overwhelmingly qualified. So
I remember when that big fiasco, when all those signatures went belly up, and it was frustrating. I can only imagine what the clients felt like, those candidates.
I mean, it's frustrating, right? There are some really good people in the petition space. There's some really good companies. They have been around for a long time, and they have worked on the Republican side. But there's only so much to go around. And so when you watch what happened, and I have my own little, I don't want to say conspiracy theory about what happened, but I definitely do.
We all do.
I mean, just like anything else in politics, we have had, circulators that have been offered bribes, been offered payouts. We just kind of entered this business saying we're going to do it our own way, not the standard way, which has really kind of helped set us apart from a lot of people, not everybody, but from a lot of other companies in this business. And so it's important, right? We always tell candidates will spend a lot of money on mail. They'll spend a lot of money on digital. But at the end of the day, if you're not on the ballot, you're not a candidate. Nothing else matters. So to us, especially as Democrats are investing more and more money on challenges and scrutinizing these things, I mean, just look at the ballot initiatives. The last 12 years, we have not had any type of resources compared to what the Democrats have had in order to scrutinize the signatures they submitted on their myriad of ballot proposals. We have not had the ability to scrutinize their candidate signatures like they have. Mike Rogers went through the rake hole last cycle on his signatures. They're going to do it again this year. They have millions of dollars sitting in a PAC that is solely dedicated to reviewing and challenging signatures of Republicans that file for office. So, in the number one rule of politics that I tell people, life is not fair. As a Republican,
that's the truth, isn't it?
Life is not fair.
No,
it's the first lesson my dad taught me in life. And I say, if you're expecting fairness out of the political process for Republicans, you're going to be sorely disappointed, and your expectations are going to be woefully undermet. It's not going to happen. So know that when you put your signatures in, you're going to be treated unfairly. You're going to be higher scrutinized, not just by outside challenge groups, but by election officials.
Sure.
And so that plays a factor into the citizens only voting. I'm going to give one last pitch for this.
You can do as much as you want.
This is why timing is important. Benson has played games with ballot initiatives the entire time she's been Secretary of State. I've had a lot of people ask me, we did Secure My Vote, which was photo ID a couple of years ago. That was kind of partnered with the two petitions on the education savings accounts. Those never made it in. That there was a lot of stuff going on with that initiative, but they end up having to withdraw the signatures that were submitted to Benson on Secure My Vote because she literally sat on them forever. And that is what she will do again. And so the reason why timing is so important, you have a lot of people who are like, well, you have 180 days. We really want to try to get these petitions done in 4 to 5 months at most. And the reason is, it's because it's important that we get the citizens only signatures submitted before Invest in My Kids, which no doubt that is their dog whistle this cycle.
Yep.
That is the one that they want on the ballot to draw out Democrat voters. And so we need to make sure that our signatures get submitted first, because it kind of forces Benson into two things. One, timing wise, she has to certify ours to get to theirs. And two, any standards that she sets disqualifying signatures on ours will also be used on disqualifying signatures for theirs. So it kind of levels the playing field.
Yeah, that's a very
little bit
thoughtful strategy there.
If we can get in before them.
Sure.
But it's a race, right? So now it's a matter of, can the volunteers help us get there? Can we get everything together? And that's where everybody who's watching today is going to help play a factor in that.
Where do they write to you to get a petition? Or did we? No, that was that one.
Yep.
What about the other stuff? You said you have other things that you want to do, petitions and things. Do you hire for? You have your for candidates. Where do they go for that?
Got it. So they can go to our website. Any candidates, even people who are looking for work. So victoryfieldoperations.com.
Okay.
Is our website. We hire all kinds of people. So first off, when we have paper in the field, paper is petitions, by the way. You learned a lot of the language. So paper equals petitions.
All right.
So when we have petitions in the field, either, like right now we're looking for volunteer circulators. Sometimes we have paid opportunities available where people can get paid to collect signatures. You can make a lot of money collecting signatures, even going door to door collecting signatures. We have people who we are looking to help us in the office processing signatures, whether that be in a fraud department. We are one of the only companies that we know about that has, there might be others, but that have an entire fraud division where all we do is audit signatures that are collected in doors that are knocked. And that's what they spend their time doing to make sure that we are turning over quality, good, non-forged, non-fake signatures to the clients who are paying us a lot of money for this stuff.
That is so needed.
So office staff, those are all hourly part-time positions. Right now we're mailing out over 100 petition kits a day. So helping us stuff and put those together. We always have things that we need help with. So if you're looking for something local, that's pretty flexible on the time, reach out on our website.
Sure.
My phone number's out there. I'm on social media. You can reach out. We're always looking for good people who we like to have in the office to come help us.
Well, we like, volunteers too, to help do those petitions. So reach out, if you want to help with some of these petitions. Is there an email? That's the web, or is there, you can go on there and find an email, I'm sure.
Yep.
Contact us somewhere in there. Okay.
There is a contact us on there. Yep.
Yeah, reach out if you're looking to do that. Did you bring any petitions with you?
I do.
Well,
I
what
have
do you know?
them.
Well, yeah, leave some with me. We're going to go. You have anybody going up to Lansing for Barrett's thing on Saturday?
So we have stuff.
Okay.
We'll have people at
Okay.
Lansing.
Okay.
We've got people all over the place.
Okay.
If you're going up to Mackinac Island in September, we'll have people up there.
Yep. Okay, so we have, so if you, but, our EC meeting, if I'd have known this, I would have had one there. We could have, everybody there would have signed. And our EC meetings are, thank you, people. They're full. They're really filling up. So that's good news.
Fantastic.
It is. So what's the price per signature? That's a good question, Curtis.
That is a good question, Curtis. So that really depends. We have a math formula. There's our back end cost on processing and fraud. And then a lot of the price of the signature is determined by it's known as the street price. What do we have to pay circulators to go out and collect that? So it really ranges on, do you need 300 signatures in a rural area? We have bid on jobs from $7 a signature up to, we have done jobs for way more than that.
Okay.
If it's a niche door-to-door job in a rural area. So we operate outside of Michigan, but it really just kind of depends.
So $7 a signature, 2,100 signatures. That's, or $2,100 for 300 signatures. Okay, so that gives you an idea. So what is way more? Like, give me a top, just so people know.
I mean, we've had some very rush jobs where you're looking at, over $100 a signature.
Wow.
But those are like when we get called and,
Right.
hey, we forgot ballot access deadline is in 3 days and we want to qualify X and we're starting from scratch.
Or we're short this
Correct.
money
And we have to go put people in the field and move teams around. And that's, we can do it. And we've declined jobs before. We've had people call us and say, hey, we want to do this. And we're not out there just to take people's money. Again, 100% of the people who have hired us have qualified, because if we don't think we can reach the goal for you, we're just going to be upfront and tell you that.
Good. So, well, that's good to know. And you'll take a small local candidate as well if they have to have signatures.
We have done everything from, we helped James Craig with his Detroit mayor's race this year. We have helped some other local candidates. We helped some local judicial candidates.
That he actually paid for someone. I'm sorry, Chief Craig.
We helped some local judicial candidates in Oakland County last cycle, down in Wayne County qualify. And you would be amazed. You've worked in all of these judicial races before. Some of them so for people who don't know, any non-incumbent judge has to collect signatures to run for office. Incumbent judges just get to qualify and fill out the affidavit and file a fee. Non-incumbent judges have to collect signatures.
Oh, yes, I remember.
And so depending on the county, some of these judges may need 300 signatures. And if you're running in Wayne County, you need above 5,000 signatures.
Yes.
People running for Congress need 1,000. So that kind of puts it in context. It's a lot of signatures. We've helped everybody of varying sizes.
Okay, here comes the big question. Are you helping both parties, or are you just helping Republicans?
So Jeff and I are both what we call true believers. We are genuine conservatives. We are not in politics to make money. We are in politics because we genuinely believe in conservative values, conservative government. It's staying out of our lives. We are a one-party firm. Do not. There is no cost for us to take on Democrat clients.
What if we're then you have a nonpartisan judge race, and you're sure that candidate's a liberal? Now what?
So again, we have discretion in who we can hire. The way Jeff and I kind of do it is we both have to agree on who our clients would be.
Okay.
We have taken on nonpartisan candidates. None have been leaning on the left.
Okay.
That's
probably
I'm going
to say what everybody's thinking.
Like, we had a lot of people ask us, are you going to try to pick up Duggan's signatures? And we said, no, he's not a Republican.
Thank you.
He's not an independent. We all know where he's at.
Are you shocked at how many Republicans are like behind that guy? I'm blowing my shot. And I say it every podcast. Show me one Republican or one Republican policy he's backed.
So
I
have met Mike. I like Mike as a person, but there's a lot of people I like, but our values don't align, and I wouldn't elect them to lead me in office. So I'll just kind of leave that there.
I'm going to just say this. This is the probably the most important thing you said all night. Of all the stuff, that's it. You only take on Republicans.
Correct. So we are a Republican-only firm. Earl, to answer your questions, we do statewide. We operate in Michigan. We'll do statewide candidates, causes. We do local stuff, and we operate outside.
Secret, or can you tell us some of them? If it's protected, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's Jay. What might be the low high cost of challenging the Dems petitions statewide?
That's a great question. So it depends on how many signatures are filed, what you want specifically to have done. We kind of offer a menu of services. For this price, we can do A, B, and C. For this price, we can do A, B, C, D, E, and F. So it really kind of depends on how deep you want to go into their signatures and then how many signatures there are. But it ranges from $1.50 up to $7 per signature, depending on how much we have to do when we review signatures.
These are good questions, guys. Keep them coming. So yes. So once again, if you have any questions or if you're thinking about being a candidate, this is good this is so perfectly timed, because as we're coming into the fall, we're going to start recruiting candidates and start training candidates and start doing our mentorships and matching them up with people and getting them. And this is good to know, because some of these candidates, they're going to need this sort of thing. So.
Well, and we're also willing to partner. So this is one of the things we're working on with either county parties or district parties, especially when it comes to nonpartisan judicial candidates.
Okay.
I can't tell you how many candidates we watch get disqualified at the state board of canvassers or on the local level because they messed up their petitions. Petitions are a strict compliance standard, which means it sucks, but that period, being in the wrong spot, may be the fatal flaw that kicks you off the ballot. people spelling their name wrong. There are a myriad of things that can be very technical, but again, the courts have very much ruled strict compliance. There is no room for good intention in this.
Well, that's what we meant.
We're looking, but we get it, right? Not everyone can afford to hire us.
Right.
A lot of judicial candidates are paying for these signatures out of pocket. Lots of them are also paying for their campaign. They don't have that money. So we are willing to partner with county parties on hosting training classes where we would come in and actually work with nonpartisan conservative judicial candidates, giving them advice. We don't give legal advice, but here's the petitions, here's how you collect, here's what to look for, here's how you make sure you fill your stuff out correctly, to kind of help more conservatives qualify, because especially when it comes to the courts, we have just repeatedly been kicked in our face, and we can't continue to have the few conservatives who do step up to run not make the ballot.
That's
so
right.
We're willing to help out however we can. Again, we are true believers. We not only are in this to, run a business, but we also want to genuinely see conservatives get elected, because that's the way we want to see the government govern.
Oh my gosh, yes. Okay, well, Megan, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to come out here. Again, your petition knowledge is superior to anybody else I've talked to. Do you have anything you want to add or can add to Axe My Tax? You might have something to say that I didn't say.
I don't. I mean, I didn't hear the first part of the show. Here's what I can say. I do believe it's a valid issue. Like, I do believe property taxes are out of control.
I agree.
People are getting taxed out of their home. People that own their homes are losing them without knowledge or process. I'm not convinced that this is the right solution. But with that said, I do believe that this is an issue we have to try to figure out how to address. Otherwise, we're just going to perpetuate a whole bunch of issues.
Yep. And, I'm going to back up here. Ron Gillard very succinctly stated the obvious. He said what I said in 20 minutes. He said in one, which is basically, yeah, I know. We all want to get rid of property tax. Let's do it in a smart way. Make the math work.
100%.
And my statement back here after all this stuff, the math doesn't work, folks. And I'm telling you, it's going to, with the way they're going to whack schools, they're going to drive the MEA to organize these Dems, and that's it. We lose eight years of Dems, and the business, it's going to be awful. I can't take it. Contact, I can't go there. Contact information. Earl, what were you looking at as I kept posting this stuff up here? Let's try this again. There you go, Earl. Now write that down. So that's the contact information. You can reach me at any time at chair@LivingstonRepublicans.com. Anybody else have anything? Here we go. By 2030, property tax. Not if we do it right, Curtis, and let's just do it right. So Bob says thank you. Okay, so this is it for us tonight. Appreciate again what you had to say, and Victory Fields Operations. What a great niche that fills. That just fills a hole. And I know a bunch of candidates here a couple of years ago that would agree are up there saluting. So, all right, well, we're gonna call it a night, guys. We'll see you next week. We have Tom Leonard on our show next week. He's coming, our first gubernatorial candidate, and then he will. By then, we'll have a meet and greet date. Everybody here tomorrow night, 6 to 8 for the Attorney General, one of two Attorney General candidates, Doug Lloyd, the Eaton County prosecutor, will be here for a meet and greet, 6 to 8. Come on, have some refreshments. Meet Doug, shake his hand.
Sign a petition.
Yeah, you can leave a petition. We'll have to sign those here. And we have Kevin Kajewski, if you're Polish, Kajewski if you're not. So Kevin Kajewski will be here next month on September 15th. But for right now, tomorrow, we'll see you tomorrow night for that, and then Friday at where are we going? Food Truck Friday in Pinckney all day, noon to 8. So we'll have petitions there and Republican membership signups and everything else. So there you go. So have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you next week.